Hello friends, my name is Vinod Tripathi. I am from Uttar Pradesh. Since childhood, my sister and I have lived at our maternal grandparents' house because my parents did not get along well, and my grandfather brought us there so we could grow up in a peaceful environment. But the story I am about to share today is not mine. It is about my maternal uncle, Vinod Tripathi. This is a true and deeply terrifying incident that still leaves our family shaken whenever it is remembered. The incident took place in the year 2001. At that time, my uncle Vinod Tripathi was very happy. After months of hard work and several examinations, he finally got a clerk's job in a government department in Bareilly. For a middle-class Brahmin family, getting a government job was a matter of great pride. The entire village celebrated the news. And everyone felt that a new chapter of stability had begun in his life. He was supposed to join on November 1st, 2001. On the day of his departure, my grandmother's eyes were filled with tears. She gave him a small bundle containing a tulsi rosary and some Ganga water. Placing her hand on his head, she said, "It's a new place, son. Cities have their own energy. Just remember to light a lamp every evening and pray to God." My uncle smiled, reassured everyone, and boarded the train to Bareilly. After reaching Bareilly, the biggest challenge was finding a rented house. He searched for several days, but rents in the main city area were too expensive. Eventually, through a local broker, he found a small one-room kitchen house on the outskirts of the city. The house number was B-13. It was located in a quiet neighborhood where most people left for work during the day, leaving the area silent for long hours. What seemed strange was that everything about the house was good. The facilities were decent, yet the rent was unusually low. My uncle assumed it was because the house was far from the main city. The landlord, a stern man, handed over the keys and emphasized only one thing: keep doing prayers in the room every day and never open the windows at night. My uncle's biggest mistake was that he never tried to find out the history of the house. He assumed it was just a local belief or superstition. The first 2 or 3 days passed peacefully. He followed a simple routine, waking up early, bathing, praying, cooking his own meals, and going to work. But the fourth night changed everything. It was around 2 a.m. when my uncle suddenly woke up. He felt as if someone had leaned close to his ear and blown a cold breath into it. An icy whisper of air. He sat up immediately. The room was dark, and faint moonlight entered through the window, falling across the floor. He looked around, but no one was there. He convinced himself it was just fear or imagination, perhaps because he was alone in a new place. Just as he was about to lie down again, he felt that someone was standing behind the curtain near the window. A faint, shadowy figure. With a racing heart, he slowly walked toward it and pulled the curtain aside. There was no one outside. But on the glass of the window, on the inner side, were 3 fresh finger marks, as if someone had just dragged their fingers across it. The room was locked from inside. He could not understand how the marks appeared. That night he did not sleep at all. After that, strange things began happening every night. Sometimes he heard the faint sound of anklets. Sometimes it felt as if someone was sitting under his bed watching him. His appearance slowly changed. Dark circles formed under his eyes remained red, and he stopped shaving. His work at the office began to suffer, and he always looked exhausted. Whenever my grandmother called, he spoke very little. He would only say, "Yes, everything is fine. I just can't sleep. I keep having strange dreams." But they were not dreams. It was something real, something that was slowly consuming him. One freezing night in November, while turning in his sleep, he heard a dragging sound from beneath the bed, as if something heavy was crawling across the floor. He immediately switched on his torch, but nothing was there. As he lifted the light toward the window, his scream froze in his throat. A figure was floating in the air outside the window. A tall, thin woman. Her long hair almost touched the floor. The most horrifying part was that her face had no features, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just a blank, terrifying surface. And her feet were twisted backward at the ankles. She hovered silently, staring at him with an empty, lifeless presence, and then vanished like smoke. My uncle was drenched in sweat. Trembling, he took out the Hanuman Chalisa and spent the entire night chanting in fear. After this, his mental condition worsened rapidly. He laughed alone, spoke to himself, and sometimes scratched his own body with his nails. One day at the office, something happened that frightened his colleagues. Instead of signing his name, he signed a government file with the name Rama. One of his close co-workers became suspicious and quietly made inquiries around house B-13. What he discovered was chilling. Years earlier, a girl named Rama had lived in that same room. She had died in a fire inside the house. Before my uncle, another tenant had reportedly gone insane and left the place. People in the neighborhood believed that a restless spirit lived there, one that never let anyone stay in peace. The co-worker immediately called our home and said, "Vinod is not well. He hasn't come to the office for 4 days and his behavior is frightening." Hearing this, my grandfather and my uncle's elder brother rushed to Bareilly. When they broke open the door, the room was completely dark. The windows had been nailed shut from inside. My uncle was sitting on the floor, muttering repeatedly, "Now I belong to you. I will never marry anyone else." His face was almost unrecognizable. His eyes were sunken, and there were deep scratch marks on his body shaped like 3 fingers. Somehow, they brought him back to the village. Doctors called it severe mental trauma, but his condition kept worsening. Whenever he regained consciousness, he would scream, "She will come here too. I took her place." Finally, my grandfather called a well-known exorcist, Baba Baleshwar Nath. After checking his pulse, the Baba said, "A female spirit has claimed him as her husband. She will not leave him until a sacred ritual is performed." For 7 days, intense rituals were conducted. Neem branches were used during cleansing rituals. A protective circle was drawn on the floor using turmeric, vermilion, and cow dung. He was given tulsi water daily, and sacred fire rituals were performed with pure ghee. On the 7th night, as the final mantra was chanted, my uncle let out a terrifying scream and lost consciousness. At that exact moment, the electricity went out, and a foul smell filled the room, like burning flesh. When the lights returned, his face looked calm. The next morning, when he woke up, he asked only one question.
Am I home now?
Have I returned from Bareilly? He remembered nothing from the past month. Today, my uncle is completely fine. He is married and has a son. But whenever this story comes up in family conversations, he falls silent. Even today, he sometimes dreams of that same window, the same 3-finger marks on the glass. And in the silence of the night, a voice whispering, "A vow was left incomplete. How can someone else fulfill it?"